Man, hold up. That's probably that's the part about doing a podcast, man, that I absolutely love is watching just the intro and knowing that number one, the intro, I put all this shit together myself, right? Because I'm cheap and I'm fucking poor. But number two, I was actually able to buy the rights to that music, so Facebook cannot shadow ban my podcast and push it way down on the feed for using copyrighted materials. So kudos to me for solving problems. That's why I dig the intro to the podcast so much. But today, what's up, guys? My name is Dave Taggart. It's your boy, your favorite roofer's favorite roofer, the Roof Poppy, owner and CEO of A5 Roofing. At least I own half this motherfucker. And then today on my podcast, I have a special guest for you. His name is Keith, and Keith is the money man. Keith, what is going on, my friend?
What's up, brother? I'm a little bit aggravated, actually, knowing that I wasn't in the medium shirts on that intro with you lifting some weights. We're gonna have to fix that.
That's right, dude. So the secret to looking swole on social media is just buying undersized shirts.
Hey,
that's everybody. That's why I like First Form shirts, because a medium, it says it's a medium, but we know this is like a schmedium. You know,
that's
it's
right.
just a hair.
It's all about thread count.
That's it, man. It feels right. It fits right. Makes me feel good. I like it.
That's right.
So what's going on, Keith, man? How you been, dude?
Good, bro. How you been?
Awesome. I guess, I hope so. For those of you guys that don't know, Keith, and I'll let you tell a little bit about yourself. Keith manages my finances at A5 Roofing. So when Keith asks me questions like, how you been? I'm like, motherfucker, you shouldn't, you know what I mean? Like, you know how I've been, if I've been fucking doing my job or not. Keith is the first guy to find out. So Keith, tell everybody who you are, introduce yourself. What do you do? Just give us a little bit of information about yourself.
Yeah, bro. So Keith Gauls, I reside in Jacksonville, Florida, actually from Houston, Texas. So trying to work the family into traveling a little west again and take up residency back in Texas. But got a 12-year-old daughter, a 10-year-old daughter. The 12-year-old's hot shit, first year in junior high, so her shit don't stink. And getting her away from all these little girls and friends of hers is probably an uphill battle. So we'll see how that turns out. But yeah, originally from Texas, moved here to Jacksonville, and I was probably 3 years old. Still have a ton of family in Houston and Katy, actually. So all through middle school, high school, elementary school, I spent a ton of time hauling ass back to Houston, spend the summers there. And, long story short, graduated out of Fletcher High School here in Jacksonville, Florida, and went into the military school. Just wasn't my fucking thing, sitting at a desk and being told what to write and where to write and how to do it. Had to check out, went to the military, did my deal, Special Operations, 20 Special Operations Command in the Air Force. I know a lot of these people are like, Air Force, Special Operations, that shit exists. It does.
Yeah, sure.
So out of that, back in 2003, 2004, went into law enforcement. That seems like the next progression step from all these guys in the military to go in law enforcement.
Right. That's the next logical one.
Right. So I guess you could say I'm an adrenaline junkie. Got a job at Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. They're like, hey, where do you want to work? I was like, put me in the shittiest part of town. Like, why else would I wear a badge? Put me in a shithole. So spent a ton of time there. Wife, kids at home. Through that law enforcement time is when I started business ownership.
Gotcha.
So I had plenty of time off. We created some businesses, built them and sold them. And that's literally what led me to my current career and current companies. So those started back in 2013, 2014, and we've been rolling ever since.
That's nuts, dude. That's awesome. So you went from military to law enforcement and then eventually back into the public sector, right? Or the private sector. And you're working in finance now.
That's right. Yep.
Right. So somewhere we segued into finance and tell us about that.
So, we built up, I'd always been destined to be an entrepreneur. My father really started that for me. He owned a plumbing company, he owned multiple companies as I was growing up as a kid. So He was always in my vision, my eyesight, like just what the hell is he doing and why is he doing it? Why not just work for someone and collect a paycheck? So I watched him hustle and struggle and make bad decisions and build and fail and then, start companies. And ultimately he ended up starting this final company. And after getting his ass kicked for so many years, making bad decisions with business partners and just the shit we do, right?
Right.
He got it right. And, thank God he was able to sell that company almost 2 years ago now, and retire full time. And, but that's really where I got, I guess you would say, just hooked, right? On, all right, how can I do this shit? And what can I do?
Right.
So through the military, it was either military or jail. It was one of those things. So I went to the military, got my shit together, right? Got out of town, got away from all the scumbags I was hanging with. And then when I came into law enforcement, I had a ton of time off. So that's when I started like, all right, what else can I do with my time? And literally, man, we started landscaping companies. We started all kinds of shit. And then the one that hit home for me was, as cheesy as this shit sounds, bro, is a bounce house party rental company. I realized very quick that
you were the fucking guy on Facebook advertising his bounce houses on like
dude, everywhere.
Nice.
Everywhere.
Okay.
But what I realized, bro, is that no matter what, people were spending money on their kids. So I took $20,000 personal loan that I was paying 9.5% from the bank, and I bought a business name, which was Bounce Around Jack's Party Rentals. The business had been inactive for 20 years. The dude never did anything with it, but I love the name, and I just saw the vision of that name being something that people would remember. So I bought the name. It came with a raggedy ass bounce house that no one would ever let their kids bounce in. And then I just started buying them one by one. As much as I could stack bread, I would just buy one. They were, $2 to $3 grand a piece. They weren't much, but bro, law enforcement with 2 kids and a wife, like, money was tight back then.
Sure.
So that was 2009. From 2009 to 2012, we went from one bounce house out of my garage to over 500 inflatable units. Trackless trains, DJ booths, you name it, we had it. Anything you could rent for your kids, I went out and bought it and would rent that shit to you.
Wow.
And then I sold it. And coming into that kind of money is what led me to like, holy shit, now I got to figure out like what to do with this money so it just doesn't go away.
Okay.
Right? So I got some raggedy ass miniature dogs back here that are probably going to be obnoxious, but we'll get them taken care of in a minute.
All good.
But that's really where the finance piece of the component started for me. Is like, all right, we came into this bread. Like, I don't want that shit to go away.
What do I fucking do with it? Yeah, see, that was like one of the first questions I asked you when I first met you. It was through Apex. We'll talk about Apex and explain that to the nice folks at home. And one of the first things I told you was like, hey, I don't know what to do with this shit. Like, once I make it, I don't know what to do with it. And I need somebody that can tell me, hey, this is what you need to do. Hey, Dave, I've been looking at A, B, and C. You're going to need to start doing either this or this to minimize or increase this or this. Like, that's what I need. I need somebody to do that for me, because I think one of the first things that I noticed about the industry that I'm in, and I don't know if it's the same with a lot of others, is that the owners of the businesses require themselves to wear a shit ton of hats that they have no business fucking wearing, right? Like, I'll be the first. I am horrible at finances. That's why me and Keith, I had this conversation. I think it was, I'll have to ask Jackie, it was either last night or the night before last. It was the night before last. I was talking with my brother-in-law and he asked me, how's business? And I said, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. And he was like, what? And I was like, I think it's going good. I looked at Jackie and I was like, is it going good? And she was like, it's going good. And I was like, okay, cool. It's going good. And he couldn't understand. He didn't understand like why I asked Jackie that. And I said, because she's the CFO, bro.
That's right.
Like, it's her job to make sure financially that we're on a sound path, and then come to me to tell me, hey, we need to change the course. And I have to come up with new fucking ideas on how we're going to implement changing the course to get what the CFO says we need to get. And Keith happens to be the guy that Jackie talks to. I think Jackie probably talks to you more than I do. When we talk, it's just shooting the shit.
That's right.
Like, we just talk about random shit.
Come up with some new shit. So we
come up with some new shit. Yeah, that's right. Buy another company, Dave. Start something else. Jet ski rentals.
Let's do something.
We could do that. We could do that. We could do boat rentals and jet ski rentals right there in Florida. I bet you we could.
Bro,
I know roofers out there begging for boats.
So I live on the water, right? Got my boat out here, and nothing more than a pain in the ass is to go get gas for that bitch.
I bet.
Right? So why not do a fuel delivery company right here on the creek, on the river?
You'd have to have a fucking huge barge. You'd have to be, and I don't even know what the licensing and the permitting requirements would be to tote around commercial fuel across the ocean.
I got my team on it right now.
Okay, good for you. I fucking believe you, dude. I believe you. Don't ask me why. I believe you. I think you might fuck around and find out, man.
Yeah,
That's it, dude. That would be a dope little endeavor right there. I think, man, I see this is why I ultimately decided y'all to do business with this guy. So this is not a plug for him or his company. Yes, he does do this shit for a living. But this is literally why I decided to have a relationship with this guy and to pay this guy to do this, because he's solves problems for a living. He's passionate about it. It's something that he happens to be very good at. And the dude's just a phenomenal problem solver. So Keith, hats off to you, man. Kudos to you for all that life and that experience and figuring out, you know how to, I mean, fuck, dude, just the ability to solve this problem nowadays, it seems like a foreign concept, you know?
That's why a lot of people go out of business, bro. They refuse. They chase the fucking dollar. They chase the sale. They chase the dollar, but they don't solve a problem. And then they're not referable. And then business stops with the client that they are dealing with at the time. It's the biggest piece of it, bro.
That's it, dude. If you can figure out, I think like Andy said one time, he said it like 900 times. Andy Frisella said it on his podcast. He said, I remember like one of the first things they did Arete Live the first year that they did that. I remember Andy Frisella was saying that two things that you need to be in order to be successful in business. One is never quit, and two, learn from your mistakes. Sure. So as long as you can do those two things, you'll probably be pretty straightforward. So I appreciate that, man. Now tell me a little bit more about your family life and stuff, dude. You're married. You've been married for a hot minute now, right?
Bro, I've been married for 14, I don't know, 15 years, 13, 12, I don't know, something like that. 15 years.
Yeah.
I met my wife, dude. Funny enough, bro. I met her at work one night. One of her friends locked the keys in the car while the car was running, and I pull up to see what's going on. It's like 2:30 in the morning at a Food Line parking lot. Nobody's supposed to be in the parking lot.
No.
One thing leads to another. She's talking shit to me, and I'm talking shit to her, and we exchange numbers. And
well, you were at work like as a cop or what? You were working. Yeah. You were working in the sheriff's office. Yeah. So you cruise through the parking lot, and this woman's over there beating on the side of her car, trying to jimmy her own car door open.
It's two chicks and a dude, and I pull up, and it's the only car in the whole place, and I'm like, "What's going on?"
This is a burglary in progress.
Yeah,
right,
I'm like, "What's up? Somebody's about to get shot." I can.
Did you You didn't turn the lights on or nothing?
No. So I just pull up, and she's like, my friend locked her keys in the car, and the car's running. Well, I couldn't get the motherfucker unlocked to save my life, so I look like a tool bag, right? Can't do my own job. Yeah. And then she just starts in on me, and then we just shit talk back and forth. I was like, she might be the one. Yeah. And then and when she's leaving, she looks at me. She's like, I'm going to make you my daddy. And then she left. And
we're gonna get. I told y'all we were gonna get fucking shadow banned for this.
100%, we're getting kicked off. So
that's how you met your wife, right?
That was it.
And that was 15 fucking years ago. And so from law enforcement to entrepreneurship and finance and things like that, I mean, you ain't got to sugarcoat shit with me, brother. I'm fucking married and I'm dealing with this. How is that on a 15-year term in business and in marriage? How has this process been just on or with? How has it affected you? Has it made things better? Has it fucking tested stuff? Like what's that?
I think it's done both. I think she's tested the absolute shit out of me every time she can. Yeah. But I think it's always for the good, right? And so as the man, as the decision maker, right, as the guy who's like alpha male, I'm like, no, it's going to be my way. I know how to do this, and I know what I should do next. But here she is in the background, like, shut the fuck up. You don't know what you're doing. This is how you should do it. I'm telling you that person's a scumbag. Don't do business with them. Yeah. And bro, every time I go against the grain, I get burned every single time. Right. And then it pisses me off because then she's in the background like, I told you so. I told you not to do that shit. Yeah. I told you I was right. And I'm like,
for sure.
If I could choke the shit out of you right now, I damn sure would. But no, man, it's been great. You know, I think as the male, as the man and all this other shit that, us egotistical guys go through, like, you have to have that rock. And now, as aggravating as it gets sometimes, being married and being home and dealing with her at work, and you know what I'm saying, like not ever really getting a break. Like, she's an ace in the hole, bro. She's a ride or die as far as the business is concerned, the family is concerned. So she's pushed the shit out of me, and I owe a lot of what we've been able to accomplish, in the past 15 years to what she's brought to the table. Yeah. Right. She may not think that, but I see Austin in the comments. You can ask Austin, bro. She don't fuck around. She's all about it.
You know what, man? I'm be honest with you. I feel a lot of times that especially as business owners or in sales and entrepreneurship, I don't feel like in my business. I mean, fuck, man, my wife's literally is my business partner. That was intentional. We did that on purpose. I realized really quick that in Texas, this was communal property state, and so she was going to have rights to half that shit no matter what. So I might as well put a vested interest in it. And Jackie just happens to be a lot better at managing finances than I am. Right.
Sure.
That's not my job. And my wife is an electrical engineer by trade. And so she's hardwired to look at data differently than a large portion of the rest of the population. So why don't I just go in with her and utilize those skills and have this partnership? And it has been the most interesting. It has been the most interesting 10 or 11 months. I think 11 months now, almost a year. That we've been a legal business. And there have been times where I have like literally looked at her and I was like, let me buy you out right now. Like you're fucking, you know what I mean? Like, tell me how much it's going to take. God damn it. Like, I want to make this decision. And I can't make the decision by myself, because it's a 50-50 partnership. But she happens to, I know that Jackie at the end of the day has our best financial interest at heart. And she will not if she sees me not doing my fucking job, the first person to tell me is her. And then the second person to tell me is you. And I'm like, shit.
That's because she calls me and says, hey, I need you to tell
Dave, get on the phone and tell Dave, shut the fuck up and get off Facebook. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. But that's why I need that. And I love my wife for that. But I think that they're probably the wives of contractors, especially in entrepreneurs, are probably like the underdogs, man. They are the most underrated heroes in the entire saga. It's like, I don't know if you watch any of that Marvel stuff, any of the Marvel cartoons, or what do you call them? The Marvel Universe things.
I don't have time for TV, man. If I'm not on the phone or, working, or I'm spending time with the kids or the wife, or can't watch the damn Jaguars. They're fucking garbage. So
yeah, I don't watch football any damn ways, man. I grew up playing it in small town Texas, and that fucking ruined it for me. Yeah. Like I'm here to tell you, I didn't grow up. I grew up playing baseball in Florida and stuff as a kid. And then in Texas in middle school and high school, and football for like 2 years, bro. And it was the most god awful shit in the world. This was not a fun thing. Like football, first of all, if y'all don't understand football in Texas, it's probably like wrestling in Iowa. Okay. It's not a fucking joke. Like these people take, they take this serious. We used to have a cafe called the Blue Bonnet Cafe on 183 in Cedar Park, and the old folks would get together on Saturday mornings and they would talk about the Friday night high school football games and the players and the stats and the scores and all the dumb shit. Like they would talk, it was religion to them. You know what I'm saying? Like these people cared about that shit. So I played football for 2 years and fucking hated it. I fucking hated that shit. But anyways, they are definitely the wives are the underdogs. And I don't remember why we started talking about football in Texas, but either fucking
never know
way,
where shit's gonna go with me.
Either way, that's it. Do you feel all business? So Corey, first of all, hi to everybody in the comments. Austin Montgomery, what up, brother? Siberia, let's fucking go. Sil says, what up? Then we have Corey says, do you feel that all businesses are entrepreneurs, and how do you separate? Ooh, no. I think that this is, if Corey, good question. I'm going to take the first stab at this thing. I think entrepreneurship is different. I think entrepreneurs embark on solving a problem better than if you're going into business and you're selling a Subway sandwich and calling it Way Sub sandwiches or whatever, it's the exact same shit, and you're following the business model and you're not solving a unique plan with a new product that's never been put forward before. I don't think you're an entrepreneur. I think you're a business owner. And an entrepreneur looks to solve a new problem with a new technology or a new thing, or develop a new process for doing something to solve a problem maybe better than an existing solution. But I think that there's a difference between business owners and entrepreneurs and even service providers. Like if I owned an HVAC company, I don't know how I'm going to install better HVAC than somebody else. That's like, as an electrician, you can take better quality of the installation process and use better materials, but you're still putting 120 volts to that goddamn outlet, no matter what. It's just the same shit. So, Corey, that's my thing. Keith, what do you think? You think there's a fucking difference?
Oh yeah, there's a huge difference, bro. You can be a CEO and have a job, or you can be an entrepreneur and fucking solve problems.
Can you say that again for the folks at home?
You can absolutely be a CEO and have a job.
You can have a fucking job. What's the
so at 8, leave at 5.
Let me ask you this. Then what is the difference between a job and a business?
So, I don't think that businesses ever stop evolving, right? So if you take roofing, for example, you can create verticals, right? You can create other metrics that solve other problems that are also related to the roof, right? You could do soft wash. You could do all kinds of shit. Do solar, you name it. Same thing with plumbing, right? You could be a plumber and create other verticals, concrete work, because you're going to have to patch concrete, drywall, because you're like, so my thing is this, like, you can be a CEO and have a job and just do the daily grind and the daily routine to get by, or you can be an entrepreneur and continue to strive and solve problems, and you end up with more companies than just one.
Right.
I don't know many entrepreneurs that have just one single avenue of income or business. They've perfected one and they've moved to the next, right? And then they just never stop evolving. So that's my take. Absolutely, they're separate.
I think they definitely are. Somebody told me one time a job is something that you have to go to every day to make sure that it's running, and a business is something that somebody will pay you for. And so I think that what I set out, me and Matt, Matt, in Apex, me and Matt sat down and discussed what kind of business I wanted A5 Roofing to be. And he was like, you're going to have to pick, dude. There's like 4 different types and you're going to have to choose because the path is fucking different for all of them. And I was like, oh shit, I didn't know that. So I finally figured out that I wanted an exitable business because I don't want to hand this off to my children. There's no guarantee that my children want to run a roofing company, and they might run it into the fucking ground. I've seen a lot of second generation business owners absolutely destroy 40 years of hard work. Right. So, but what I think is if I can do an exitable business and somebody will literally approach me one day and say, hey, here's 50 million, we said 100 million is what I literally told him. And he said, okay, so 10 years, 100 million, and you get the hell out of the market share. And I'm like, yeah, cool. Like, I'll do that. So boom, here's the path. This is what we're going to do. And we've got 9 more years to do it, man. So we're going to fucking get there. But that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to build an exitable business that somebody would pay me for one day, because the advice that I heard once was that if somebody will not buy your company from you, then you don't have a business, you have a job. Yeah, and I was like, oh shit, I don't want a job. I want a fucking business. I want something that's going to generate quite a bit of, and then, my idea anyways, is to now create other businesses that work in conjunction with mine. Like if I could get, I've got all kinds of ideas, but we won't go into, let's just say, like, if I wanted to monopolize roofing, the next thing for me would be like, okay, material supply. How do I do that? How can I get into this? And how do I get a stronger marketing campaign so I can push, programs A, B, and C, or whatever the case. But that's what I think, man. I think that if somebody's not willing to write you a check to get you the fuck out of the way, then you probably got a pretty cush job, a pretty cush job. And that's what
the other piece to it too. Like, as an entrepreneur, you have to be able to build yourself to a point where you're not at work, and your business can still run and multiply and do what it's supposed to do, and revenue still comes in.
That's
right.
That's
an
the
entrepreneur.
Key. That's the key. Well, I was just having this conversation. I had a buddy of mine from a roofing company that I used to work with called me and was like, hey, let me get your advice on this. Had a pretty cool proposition and offer to be part of the growth of another company. And he was asking me, as somebody that's taken an offer before to work for another company and to build something out that they didn't have, what was that imposter syndrome like? How did you solve those problems? So on and so forth. I said, well, there's 4 things that you're going to need. This is what I figured out. You're going to need to have a pretty sustainable business. Number 1, lead generation, which for this young man is not a problem. He'll go business to business, door to door, if that's what he's got to do. And number 2 is sales, which is not a problem for this guy either. So he can create leads, he can close leads and generate income with it. And number 3 and 4, I said, are going to be probably your big things. And he was like, what was that? And I said, this is just my opinion, but you're going to have a system in which you can train people to do this shit. So that way you can scale it, because if you can't teach it, you can't train it. I don't give a shit who you are. If you cannot write it down, map it out, put it on a piece of paper, you cannot teach somebody how to do it with your absence. Like if you have to be there every day for them, that's not what I'm trying to do. Number 4, right. I have to be able to teach these people. And number 4, I have to be able to recruit people to teach.
That's right.
Right. So as long as I can recruit, I can teach, I can generate leads, I can close sales, I can create more revenue, and I can recruit more people. How we're going to do that is by impacting lives. We're going to break generational curses around this motherfucker. You know, I'm going to show guys that have never made $40,000 a year how to make $150,000, $200,000 a year and change their quality of life. And that's what I think. You know, you and I were talking about that earlier, and you told me that you were going to get me to talk about my story a little bit, but that's literally how it happened for me, dude. I was living in a double wide trailer in the fucking like methamphetamines capital of Texas, bro. It was a bad fucking side of Comal County to live in. And I remember the night I decided to give this shit a shot, dude. And I was eating a can of peas and carrots for dinner because that's what I had. I was sitting on the floor of my kitchen, man. And my daughter, yeah, bro. My daughter Kennedy was she was 2 years old, and Casey was a little older than 6 months, maybe. She was about 8 months old. And I had full custody of both of them, and I was working as a remodeling contractor and doing kitchens and bathrooms and stuff in people's houses. I was laying the tile, building the showers myself, shower pans. I wasn't GCing this shit. Like I was doing this stuff. Kitchen cabinets, drywall, you name it, man. I've done it. And I was spending all my money to pay my bills, dude, and to take care of those girls. And what I could afford to buy myself for dinner at the time happened to be a can of peas and carrots. And I put some leftover ramen noodle chicken seasoning in the fucking peas and carrots, bro, just to make it taste like something. And this is what I had for dinner. And I was sitting on the floor of my kitchen wondering, what the fuck am I going to do? Right. And a buddy of mine that I was on the phone with was, dude, you need to give this shit a shot. Let me show you what roofing has done for me. And I was like, fuck it. What do I got to lose? About $207. That's it. So I put it in my gas tank.
Here we are.
And yeah, the rest is history, dude. It was for me, it was really like there's no excuse. There's no plan B. I've always been a plan B cut motherfucker, right? Like I've never had, if this doesn't work out, then my contingency is fuck my contingency. I don't have one. Like this has to work. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if it's always going to be fucking A5 roofing, but whatever it is that I'm doing with my life, I refuse to go back to where I was. I refuse to do that shit. I'm not ever going. My kids will never know that life ever again. So I had this conversation with the dude, and it was kind of wild that we got into that story about, you know, where I got into roofing. But I got into
I was
roofing.
Gonna flip it on you.
Yeah. I appreciate that. But I got into it because somebody wanted to impact my life the way that the industry had impacted theirs. And then that has been kind of the thesis, I guess, or the basis for my ability to recruit and to generate relationships that I'm able to leverage, you know, and to not leverage like in a fucked up way, but to be like, hey, bud, I need a favor. Do you know somebody that knows this? Like I have a lot of network connections because I've been focused on trying to create impact. And, and that's been a huge thing for me. And that's kind of like why I do the podcast and stuff, you know. I'll be honest with you, man. I do this because there's some dipshit that's 26 years old and he's looking to get into roofing. He's a single father of 2 and he's sitting in a double wide trailer going, what the fuck do I do? Knock, knock, knock. Dave, this is what you do. Here's the blueprint, you know?
Yeah. And we've all, you know, I think you know, there comes some need for tenacity and grit to really get through, because listen, dude, you know this, like, just because you're an entrepreneur or a business owner, whatever you want to identify as, like that shit's not easy. It doesn't just start fucking happening. It takes fucking courage. It takes muscle, and it takes getting your ass whipped daily, weekly, monthly, yearly for a little bit of time until the shit starts clicking.
Yeah.
Right. And what we found, there's a cheat code to it. The cheat code is don't fucking be afraid to ask questions. Surround yourself with the right people.
That's right.
And wake up every day and just do your best that next day.
Doesn't
matter what the scoreboard says. Just do your best.
I heard somebody say one time that you cannot be the person you want to be tomorrow while continuing to be the person you were yesterday.
That's right.
Right? Like if you're not growing, if you're not changing things. Perfect example. I had a conversation with my wife about this in the car yesterday. I looked over at her and I said, I saw a thing on Facebook where somebody said that they were outgrowing their friends, right? That they noticed that their life had changed to a point to where they were becoming more mature and more responsible, and they were outgrowing some of their friends. And I thought to myself, wait until you outgrow your family, motherfucker. Like, I've gone through that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've had to do some second, hey, I need to look at this relationship and find out whether or not this is worth to even allowing to continue in my life, because I've got some shit over here that requires my attention. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I just remember thinking like, wow, you think outgrowing your friends is bad. But that is key, dude. Getting around the right group of people and making sure that you're inside. And I feel now we're getting into Apex a little bit, but getting inside of that room or the conversations with people that are doing the things that you want to be doing in business is crucial. And yes, it fucking costs something. Sometimes it's blood. Sometimes it's not money, but it's going to cost you something to get into that level of conversation. And I think that is, you know, and dude asked me on the phone call today, he asked me if I thought that paying for mentorship was valuable. And I was like, bro, I pay $1,000 a month for mine. Like, goddamn, you know what I mean? Like, fuck yeah.
I made that post this morning, dude, right? Yeah. Mentors over money.
That's it.
If I could go back, knowing what I know now, if I can go back and I'm a dude that's in his fucking freshman or sophomore year of business ownership,
right?
Fuck the money. I don't give a shit how much money's coming in. If I can cover my bills, that's plenty, right? I'm going to take every penny over that and I'm going to go buy my way into a room with bigger and better mentors. And you're right. I mean, like Apex is one of those places you can go. Yeah. And I don't know how many times I go into an Apex meeting, go to a fly-in, right? It costs a couple G's to go to each fly-in, you know, once a quarter. I'm typically there once a month, I feel like. But, dude, I can guarantee you when I come home, I've 10X that investment. Whether it's something that I learned to apply to my business, whether it's a relationship that I created and just a friendship, whatever it might be. Austin's in here giggling in the comment section. He's half the reason that it cost me so much to go because you know, I'm typically buying his dinner and all kinds of shit.
The gas on the boat's not cheap. That marine fuel is not cheap no more.
No, that shit's it's like $6 a gallon, bro.
Hell yeah.
No, but you know, so that's the thing. It's like mentors over money. Like if the cheat code is this. Be the smallest fucking fish in the room at all times, and you're going to be successful. If you have 2 working ears and a mouth that stops talking, you're going to be successful.
I did
that. Listen and apply.
I was sitting in the corner of the room like a creeper. The last quarterly meetup we had, I was sitting in a room. Adam Lyons was standing next to me having a conversation with somebody else, and we started talking about him living in Texas and the Queen of England and all sorts of stuff. We had a conversation with Adam Lyons, and the whole time sitting across the table, like 2 tables over, and this is in a big, like empty room, was Ryan Stewman, and I think his CEO of Break Free Academy. And then there was the CFO, and then there was some other people. And they were in the room having a conversation, and Ryan was talking about something about a story from mortgage sales or something like that. And I was just sitting there, and I took a picture of it. And I snapped a picture of Ryan over there mid-sentence talking about something. And I think the post, the tag for the post was like, you know, when you get in the right room, sometimes you just got to shut the fuck up and listen, right? Because they were talking about something. I don't remember what it was right now, but I just remember thinking like, damn, if I'm this close and I can hear what this motherfucker says, and he starts dropping bombs, like I know I can do some good, you know, inside of my organization.
That's right.
But I do feel that Apex has the ability to get people in the right connections and around the right people, so that way those leveling ups can happen a little bit more organically. You know what I'm saying? Like that's I feel like my biggest benefit to Apex is I got a marketing guy, I got a tax guy, I got a branding. Like I have all sorts of these people who are now financially invested in the success of my business, that I don't have to worry about these 5 different things no more. Like I can do the shit that I want to do. You know what I mean? For my business, which is build the brand and recruit and train. Like I can do that, and I can let these experts deal with all the other shit. So, but that's pretty cool.
Getting to that level where you can start putting people in place to run those segments of your business, so you can do what you're very good at, which is generate revenue, right? Because without generating revenue, none of those people on your team exist. And outside of that, without you being able to go execute your business plan, your business doesn't grow. Right. We can stay stagnant and we can just pay the bills, but then we're back to that. We have a job.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. That's not what the fuck I got here for. No. That's not what, you know what? Here, look, I'm not going to romanticize this shit. Everybody says they get into business to change lives and to do that. I could change a lot more lives with hundreds of millions of dollars than I could tens of thousands. I know that much. I've never looked in I've looked in my bank account and I've seen fucking commas before, but I've never seen 2 separated by fucking zeros. You know what I'm saying? And I know that with 2 commas, I could help a lot more fucking people than I could with 1 comma. And so if people get into business and they like to virtue signal all the time, it's, oh, I got into business to help humanity. Okay, Elon Musk, slow down, right? Like you did not get into a Payless shoe store franchise to change the fucking world. Okay.
You did it to make money. Yeah.
Right. Unless you just like feats, but you did it to make money. And with that money, this is what I intend to do. Right. The money is the tool. The money is not the end result for me. I just want to make a shit ton of it. So I have to be a great fucking human being, number 1, and a phenomenal business owner, number 2. So as long as I can do those things, I'm pretty good. Still says, did you ever run into a situation of working backwards? Meaning, did business take off, then you had to slow down work? Hell yeah. That just happened like a week ago. I had a buddy, and we were sitting in a meeting, and I realized that I had been having company meetings. I had no idea how to formulate a meeting. So Nick gave me audible copy of What the Heck is EOS, and I've already done Traction. I read Thomas Keaton's book, right? We're getting into some analytical business looking stuff. So I look at my business. I see over here Austin recruiting in my motherfucking comments.
Damn, dude.
Get after. Okay, bro. Okay.
Get it, Austin.
So look here. So we've got, what did I say? Oh, my guys were like, hey, Dave, we need to generate. I told them we need to generate more reviews on Google. And they said, well, what about a QR code? And I said, okay, well, think about that. We side tabled it to the end discussion at the end of the meeting. And one of my guys brought up job completion document where the homeowners would check off, hey, this is done, this is done, this is done, this is done. I said, okay, cool. Light bulb went off. Why don't we put the fucking QR code on the document? So when the homeowner's signing it, it's right there. Whip the phone out, do that. While you're walking around and they're checking these things off, they can be leaving they got 2 minutes. I'll be back, leave the review. I'll come right back. And the first fucking piece of paper we printed and handed out to a sales guy that got used, we got a 5-star review from it. And I was like, damn, that is dope. But yes, to give you the example, I've had to do that like repeatedly. I've realized, shit, I don't have a process or a system in place that covers that. I just created my SOPs like 2 months ago, and I've been in business for 8 months, and I've trained people on how to do it, but I didn't have a written set of SOPs that I could give in a PDF copy and an email to my employees or my contractors and say, here, guys, this is what you do. Like, no. So to answer your question, I do that shit like weekly, I'd say. Probably weekly. I still don't know. I don't know half the shit that I should know about my taxes. I have no fucking Keith. Am I paying taxes this year? I'm probably gonna owe some money, right? Like I don't see a
little bit of money.
This is what I'm saying. See, like still, I don't know. Maybe I'm working backwards. Keith might get off the podcast tonight and be like, Dave, you've got to go sell some fucking roofs, dog. But here's the deal, man. I do know that if you're not constantly, like Keith said, growing your system or changing your system to incorporate either more work or more profitable work or other revenues of work, then you're stagnant, you know?
Listen, I think too, right? Like that's going to be a forever evolving issue you run into, whether it's SOPs we didn't create, or for the other pieces of this, like it's another vertical that you created. You're going to have to pause, intertwine that into your business so that it can be successful. Or your business you're never going to just go to a certain level and be static, right? It's not going to be static and just stay the same. You're going to always have to hire people, always going to grow. Income's going to change. Tax bracket's going to change. So you're never going to know that next evolution and what you have to do until you get there and you realize like something broke. Let's figure out what broke.
Yeah.
Let's fix it. And then we can grow. What
That's
broke?
right.
Let's fix it. Then we can grow to that next level. So still, that's never going to be something that you handle once and then never have to handle again. Unfortunately, you're just going to have to continue fighting that damn battle.
Hopefully every quarter.
It's for growth, right? Every time you go to that next level, that next thing, that's just a byproduct. The difference is this. As you continue to grow and you put the right people on the bus, you may not identify what's broken. Your team will then identify what's broken. And hopefully you never even know that you guys had to, quote, slow down to speed up.
Right. Right. See, that's what Austin's saying right now. The jump from 1 million a year to 5 million a year takes a totally different mindset. Same thing with every additional 5 million. See, now Austin's got me. So this is what I'm worried about, right? This is what I hear from my entrepreneur friends. They're like, oh, first mill's easy to make. I'm like, okay. All right. So what about the second one? They're like, nah, number 2 is a little bit harder. To get to 5 is the next milestone. And I'm like, well, shit, I see what people are doing. Like, I'm sure, like, here's how fucking high speed I am, right? I'm sure that if I knew that Austin was, let's say, consistent with his Facebook content, I could go back and read the book that Austin wrote on what to do just by scrolling through his Facebook. If I wanted to go 5 years back and go through his Facebook and try to learn as much as I can from Austin, somewhere Austin gave me the blueprint, or at least a portion of the blueprint, and I can learn the rest of it from other people. So if it's taking Austin 5 years to do 10 million, I might be able to do it, if I'm a good student, in 3 or 4. Might be able to do it faster than him. Probably not, right? Because I feel like Austin has, well, he comes like this shit's been in his family, right? Like for a fucking hot minute. Construction and contracting has been in their bloods forever. So, so he's probably got a little bit more high speed approach to it than most people. But that's,
well, don't get it twisted. His wife Erin is the key to the Bentley in that relationship and that business.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's not get it twisted. We can't blow Austin's head up too big on this podcast. We gotta let a little air out.
He's buoyant. I know he's buoyant. I know his motherfucker floats. Keith, man, it has been an awesome time rapping with you, brother. I definitely appreciate it, bro. Keith, where can guys, if anybody wants to reach out and find out about Tideland, what you do, get to know you a little bit more, where can they follow you? Where can they find you?
Yeah, Tideland Consulting on Instagram and Facebook, also Keith Gauze. And then my cell phone is probably the quickest and easiest route to me, 904-401-9327.
Awesome. Hopefully you guys wrote that down. If you didn't, rewind the show, go watch it, hit that little 15-second rewind button, grab that phone, shoot Keith a message, hit him up, tell him you don't know what you're doing with your finances and you probably need a Keith Gauze. I've got a Keith Gauze. I've said that shit like 7 times in the last 2 or 3 weeks probably in people's Facebooks. And so it's good to know that I've got somebody that's looking after my money, making sure that I'm doing this right and I'm not fucking anything up. So Keith, I appreciate you vibing. Appreciate you coming on, rapping with me tonight, man. And again, Tideland Financial for them. For us here at Roofing Underground, I am your boy, Dave Taggart. I am the CEO of A5 Roofing, aka the Roof Poppy, your favorite roofer's favorite roofer. And that's going to do it for us tonight.